about the differences in American foreign policy, any relationship to Russia, and we are particularly sensitive to anything that concerns Russia in our region. So, could you comment? How do you see the steps American administration did recently in terms of reaction to Russian new steps in Georgia and other parts of the world, and economical attempts to control the energy sources in Europe and so on?
Oh, thank you very much for that question. I really appreciate it. You want to get me in trouble, don't you? Seriously, you can't change everything all at once. And the president understands, on one hand, the difficulties that are involved with an aggressive Russia, at the same time with a major supplier of lifeline to much of Europe. President certainly I am not speaking for the president, but I know from his advisors, that certainly understand that this is an aggressive Russia. This is a Russia with its own agenda. This is a Russia that really opposes missiles in this part of the world. This is a Russia that needs to be contended with because it is one of the BRIC nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China. It is as Fareed Zakaria points, the rise of the rest. Russia is a major power. By the same token, you need to pick your fights carefully. And I think in the first 100 days, we see a president who not only has problems to deal with, potential catastrophes to deal with. The economy, we really don't know how low it will go. The banks, do Americans like bailing out banks, especially those that were involved maybe in criminal behavior? No. But what do? Do you let a Bank of America fall apart? Do you let these institutions crash? That's a heavy burden. The Middle East, Iran, all of these potentially explosive. And so in that sense, for him to have come over and opposed a missile shield, for him to have embarrassed an existing government, for him to have picked a fight in an area where arguably right now he does not have to pick a fight because it's not one of those immediate potential catastrophes. I think he handled it cool, that's the word. I think he handled it diplomatically. How it ends up down the road, I don't know, but this was not the time. Whew.
I have a question.
Yes.
I've changed the course a little bit. You talked about the first globals in the United States. Do you see this internationally? And if so, paint the picture.
Yes, I do. These are hot off the press here. 30% of 18 to 29-year-olds throughout Latin America say, I'm a citizen of the planet Earth before I'm a citizen of my region or citizen of the country. 45% of 18 to 29-year-olds in 5 countries, UK, Spain, Italy, Germany, France, are fluent in at least 2 languages. 90% of 18 to 29-year-olds in those 5 countries use the internet 2 to 4 hours a day, half of that time spent internationally, socially networked. 50% of 18 to 29-year-olds throughout Latin America, these are the only areas where I've polled thus far, expect to live or work in a foreign country at some point in their lives. 69% of Latin American 18 to 29-year-olds expect to travel abroad in the next 5 years. Those are just some statistics. There's many, many more. Let's go beyond the statistics. There is a growing planetary sensibility that exists among young people. Why would there not be? There's a planetary culture. Hip-hop is part of it. University education is another part of it. Wanting to be better than one's parents is another part of it. Ryanair for $99 is another part of it. Global music, global fashion, global sports is another part of it. What's exciting to me is that this planetary sensibility is not just developing among the rich kids. It's not just developing among university-educated kids. That what is really happening is a planetary sensibility among all, not all, but among all financial levels of 18 to 29-year-olds. And it's only going to grow as internet capabilities expand, as cell phones expand. I mean, 93% of young people have cell phones right now. How do I know? They're the ones tripping into you as they're talking to each other on the street. There is a diversity that I see. I've seen it with my own children, but I read it also in the polls. It was not that long ago in the United States and among young people in Europe in particular, when race was much, much more of a serious problem than it is today. I'm not in any way suggesting that it's not a problem, but it is to say that European youth, just as American youth, are not the skinhead. That's a very tiny and very, very contracting group of people. What is growing are multicultural groups, multiracial groups, multiracial social networks. I only see it getting bigger and better. Yes?
Could you place the concept of your planetary sensibility in relation to, I know there's a lot of definitions, but in relation to the concept of globalization? Because it seems a connection.
It is, and let me tell you that one of the things I've learned in polling is how to poll values and language. When we poll on the term globalization, it's very negative. But when you take individual aspects of globalization, free and fair markets, innovation and entrepreneurship, that sort of thing, open immigration, it's very, very positive and very, very positive, particularly among young people. And so, in that sense, it is a reality that's here to stay. We call this today the Great Recession. And what will emerge from this Great Recession is kind of what happened after the Great Depression. New structures in place to ensure that this sort of thing on this level doesn't happen again. Those structures and foundations will not be national. They will not be protectionist. They simply can't be. The thing is now, you have a relative buy-in by the G20. It's only a matter of time, because no national economy can transcend this on its own. Does that help?
Can I get back to the ideas that are the cornerstone of your book you mentioned at the beginning of your lecture, and especially the idea that more and more Americans are kind of going beyond the traditional American dream, and they are giving back to the society.